Our first question is, why won't COVID-19 just go away?
I think the super short answer is the coronavirus, this particular one, it's never going to go away completely. What we're going to wait to see is what happens over time in terms of, what kind of immunity does it create in the population when people either get the infection or once effective vaccines are in circulation, and whether it will fall back to being like other coronaviruses that we already have circulating in the population. This is actually the number 5 coronavirus that's circulating in the population. And there's even some speculation that some of those earlier ones, back when they first started, came on a little more virulently before they settled down to being, where they are now. But what we are likely going to see is that COVID will settle back into being some sort of pattern, meaning it'll have waves. We don't know how far apart those waves will be. It could be seasonal, like the traditional flu is. There are some viruses that we see, as Katie knows, every couple of years. They kind of surge because that depends on how long it takes immunity to kind of wane a little bit. But I don't think it's going to ever go away completely. We will get to a better relationship with it, if that makes sense. But I think that's how I see it. Katie, what are your thoughts? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you well stated most of my facts. The only thing that I would potentially add is there are some viruses that will circulate that we can then eradicate. So for example, smallpox was one of those viruses. The reason that we were able to do that is because that specific virus does not live in anything other than people. The problem with this specific coronavirus is that it does have an animal vector, so it exists in the wild. And as a result of that, there will always be spillover events. Even if we get everything under control, we would still, say in a hypothetical situation where everybody in the world has been exposed and everybody has antibodies, those antibodies would wear off at some point, and then spillover events would occur because as people are encroaching more upon wilder places and interacting with animals more frequently, especially ones that we wouldn't normally be interacting with, these spillover events are going to continue to happen. And so COVID is basically here to stay, not necessarily at the kinds of infection rates that we're seeing right now, but in general, like it won't just go away. It's not something that we will just be able to eradicate and not have to deal with anymore, unfortunately. But with the news of the vaccines, the vaccine trials and how well they're going, there's a lot of promise as far as being able to get it under control, especially if we're able to actually vaccinate, almost everybody.